Hi everyone, my name is Aishwarya Krishnakumar. I am a storage technical specialist for IBM, and today I'll be talking to you about IBM's Storage Protect for Cloud offering, or SP4C. SP4C is a born-in-the-cloud IBM solution, and it delivers data backup and restore for several SaaS platforms, from Microsoft 365, Dynamics 365, Azure VMs, Azure Blob, Google Workspace, and Salesforce. Specifically about our SP4C for Microsoft 365 offering. So that will protect your cloud workloads such as Microsoft Exchange, Teams, and OneDrive. During this video, I'll go ahead and give you a quick introduction on SP4C, and then I'll walk through a couple different demos to illustrate the different use cases of SP4C. I'll go ahead and start off by talking about what protection Microsoft 365 covers. So Microsoft does offer built-in data protection. The backup services that are built into Microsoft 365 are designed to help address customers' requirements for data center redundancy and disaster recovery. They support the primary Microsoft 365 workloads, and they can help users and admins by providing recycle bins, version control, and soft deletion functions. However, when it comes to security and compliance protections, there are limitations with Microsoft 365's built-in data protection. While Microsoft protects against some data loss, they don't offer any protection when it comes to loss of data due to departing employees, loss of data due to malicious insiders or hackers, or even long-term accidental deletion. In fact, loss of data due to user and admin errors are actually one of the most common data loss events, but Microsoft's built-in capabilities do not protect against these. For example, if a user loses an email or if an admin forgets to set a retention policy, it is the organization's responsibility to have backed up that data, not Microsoft's. So that brings the big question: whose responsibility is it to protect SaaS data as a whole? Is it the service providers or is it the customers? Well, the answer is actually both. While the service provider offers limited built-in data protection capabilities, the key word here is limited. So when it comes to security and compliance and a full backup and restore protection, that falls under the customer's responsibility. In fact, if you take a look at Microsoft's service agreement, they actually state that they recommend you regularly back up your data using third-party apps and services. And if you think about it, it's not only a recommendation, but more so a requirement if you truly want to protect your entire cloud workloads. So this is where IBM's SP4C comes into the picture. SP4C is a born-in-the-cloud backup solution, and it helps organizations protect their different workloads. You don't have to install anything locally, you don't have to maintain any infrastructure, and once the options are set, you can forget about having to do them again, which can definitely save time and resources for your organization. Now I'll go ahead and run through a couple different demos that illustrate the different use cases of SP4C. The first demo will showcase SP4C's self-service recovery portal. Let's say that you have an employee and they accidentally delete one of their own emails. Using SP4C's self-service portal, they would be able to restore that email without any additional help. So let's go ahead and show that in our demo. I've switched tabs to one of her coworkers. Her name is Adele. We've logged on to Adele's email within Outlook, and she has this very important budget file that she's saved to her OneDrive. So if we open her OneDrive, we see that the budget file is sitting right here. And because it's here, she goes ahead and she deletes that email. Now here we see the budget file is in her OneDrive. She's going to go ahead and accidentally delete this entire budget file. And let's say that she forgets it's in her recycle bin. Time has passed and she empties the recycle bin as well. Now she really needs this budget file back, but it's no longer in her recycle bin. It's no longer in her files, and she no longer has that email. So essentially, this budget file is nowhere to be found. And this is where she can go ahead and use IBM's Storage Protect for Cloud to restore that important budget file. Let's go ahead and log on to SP4C using Adele's email. And here we see that we've logged on successfully using Adele's email. We see the Storage Protect for Cloud recovery portal, and let's go ahead and click into that. Now it asks us what type of object we want to restore. It could be something from Exchange, OneDrive, SharePoint, or even a Teams chat. In this case, Adele wants to restore something from her OneDrive. We can use the advanced features to search for the particular file, or we can use the tree mode and sort through the hierarchy and see which file we want to be restored. Here we see our budget file, so I'll click on that and I'll hit restore. And just like that, a restore job has started. So now I can go to the request history on the left side to check on the status. Here we see all of the different jobs that Adele has done using this recovery portal. We see the job type, we see the status, the start, and the finish time. If I refresh this page, here we see that this job has finished in approximately 1 minute. Now, if Adele goes back to her OneDrive, she would see that budget file right back where it started. Swapping to her OneDrive, let's go ahead and refresh this page. Go back to her files, and here we see the budget Excel file right back where she initially put it in. Hopefully that showed you how SP4C's recovery portal can save time and resources for your organization. As you saw, Adele accidentally deleted one of her files, and using this recovery portal, she was able to restore it without any additional help. This recovery portal is 100% self-service, but you might be thinking maybe you don't want every single employee to have this level of permissions. And that is completely okay. SP4C is very flexible, so not everyone needs to have access to that self-service portal. And that segues into our second demo. In our second demo, we're going to be talking about delegated admin permissions. So let's go ahead and jump into our demo. In this demo, we're going to be talking about another one of our employees named Martin. We've logged on to Outlook using Martin's email, and Martin is working on this very important project called the Pied Piper. We're gonna go ahead and drop this email into that folder. And in this scenario, Martin accidentally deletes the entire folder. And let's say time has passed, he forgets it's in his recycle bin. What he's gonna do is accidentally empty the recycle bin as well. Now he really needs this folder back. However, Martin does not have access to that self-service recovery portal. Because he doesn't have access, he won't be able to restore that folder by himself. However, he knows that his manager has delegated admin permissions within SP4C. So let's go ahead and swap profiles, and let's log into SP4C using his manager's account. Here, we've logged onto Storage Protect for Cloud using Barry's account. Barry is a delegated admin user within SP4C, so he has additional permissions within the platform. Here we see all of the different services that Barry has access to. He has SP4C for Azure, Google, Microsoft. In this case, we're going to be working within our Microsoft 365 service, so I'll click on that. And here we see that Storage Protect for Cloud has loaded. We see our home page, which includes all of the different backups that we can do, which I'll go over later on. But for right now, Barry has a very important task to do. He needs to help Martin restore one of his folders. So on the left side, I'll click into Restore. And here we can see all the different Microsoft components that we can restore. I know that Martin wants something from his Exchange restored, so I'll click on that. And because Barry has delegated admin permissions, he can not only restore things for himself, but he can restore things for others as well. So I'll go ahead and search up Martin's name. I can restore a mailbox, a folder, or a mailbox item. In this case, I want to restore a folder. And if I wanted to, I can type in the name of the folder, but in this case, I'll keep it as is and I'll hit search. Here we see all of the different folders that Martin has had in the past or currently has in his Outlook. I'm going to scroll down and I find the Pied Piper folder. I'll click on that, and if I wanted to, I can change the recovery point as well. I'll keep it as is. I'll hit apply and hit restore. Now SP4C provides us some other options as well. We can either restore to the original location or a different one. We can restore all the items within the folder or only certain items. And it has several options for us to handle conflicts if there are any. I'll keep everything as is. I'll hit next and I'll hit restore. And just like that, a restore job has started. So if we go to the job monitor, we can check on the status of the job. Here we see all of the different jobs that we've done. We can filter by the Microsoft component. We can see if it was a restore or a backup. We see the status, the start, and the finish time. If I refresh this page, we see that this job is in progress. SP4C does follow an incremental forever backup strategy. So while the first backup may have taken a little bit longer, after that it's all just incremental. So if you take a look at the start and the finish time, they are very near each other. It takes less than a couple minutes or so to completely finish. With another refresh, we see that we have finished this job. So Barry can let Martin know that if he goes back to his Outlook, he should see that folder right back where it started. So now if we go back to Martin's Outlook, we see the Pied Piper folder with the email right back where it started. Hopefully that gave you a good understanding of how you can change rights and permissions for different users within SP4C. In our first demo, we saw how SP4C has a self-service portal, and Adele was able to recover an email that she accidentally deleted without any additional help. In our second demo, we saw that while Martin did not have access to that self-service portal, his manager was able to restore things for himself as well as for other people because he was a delegated admin user. Now I'll go ahead and talk about some other functionalities within SP4C. So starting back at the home page, we have all of the different Microsoft 365 components that you can back up. For each individual component, you can configure it independently. So you can change the backup scope, which is what you actually want to protect, and you can change the backup frequency. So how many jobs do you want to run per day? It could be up to 4. Next up, we have our Restore tab. And here we have all the different Microsoft components that you can restore. And depending on your permissions, you can either restore things for just yourself or for others as well. Under data management, we have some additional options to let you control your data. And then we have several reports that you can use. One key report that I would like to highlight is our unusual activities analysis. If any activity gets tagged as being suspicious, for example, a potential ransomware attack, you would find it on this dashboard. And not only would it provide reporting, but it would also offer guidance for the best way to recover from a malware attack. Another report that I like to highlight is our end user restore report. Within this report, you would be able to see all of the different users who have used that self-service recovery portal in the last 30 days. Here we see that Adele has used that self-service portal to finish 8 jobs in the last 30 days. And lastly, we have our job monitor, which really is a one-stop shop to seeing all of your different jobs that you've done in the past, what type of job it was, the start and the finish time as well. With that being said, we've gone through some of the major capabilities that IBM's SP4C offers. We talked about how it offers a self-service restore, which can save time and resources for your organization. We talked about how SP4C has flexible limits, so you can control what each user and each admin can access or restore. SP4C does offer a 30-day free trial, so you can see for yourself how easy this solution is to set up and to use. And lastly, we have several resources that can provide additional information about our solution. Thank you for your time, and please reach out if you have any questions.